already, Chris.
You know, I'm Chris Gotti Lorenzo.
You already know.
We're giving you the business. My partner, Don Dinero.
Don Dinero, que vola.
Que vola.
Hey, we already, we keeping it digital right now.
Oh, we here.
It's a story. We're actually doing a story while we're doing the podcast. I'll be back now this week. But listen, first and foremost, I know it's a new year. There's a lot of changes going on.
A lot of changes.
We're trying to, bring a different sauce now with this podcast, giving them the business. But
yeah,
I heard New York City got a new mayor.
Got a new mayor of color.
Hey, is that a way of saying
a new
what?
Commissioner of color.
Is he yellow? What color? What color?
They both black.
Oh, okay.
Both black.
African American.
African American. Yes.
Okay. So is the change good? I mean, what are we talking about? I'm hearing rumors. Listen, I'm over here in Jersey. I stay in Jersey. I stay with my little Cubans right here doing Cuban coffee. Like I was telling my man, you feel me? I'm a native New Yorker who's a Florida resident who lives in Jersey.
I wonder why.
Hey, that's another episode. We can't get into that.
We'll get into that in the next episode.
But my thing is now, I heard there's a lot of rumors of him making changes and rumblings.
Yeah, man. One of the biggest things that I've heard he's doing, he kept coming in and saying he's going to make these New York City streets safe. He's not going to walk around with all of that security. He was talking about how he got locked up in the 103rd precinct, which is right in Queens off of Liberty there. I know the precinct well. I was also taking advantage with that precinct when I was younger. They did us dirty over there in Hollis, Queens. So at the end of the day, he was coming in talking all of those things. But as the new mayor, man, I don't condone what he did. He's going back to the stop and frisk, which a judge had ruled to be.
I heard it was unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional, Fourth Amendment rights violated. Again, but it's really minorities. We're talking about, again, you don't quote me. About 84% of all people that was pulled over for stop and frisk was of minority. It was black or Latin people that were being pulled over.
That was in 1999.
Now let me flip that number.
It was 91% in
2000. 84 first, and then you got to 91. I don't miss numbers. That's why when she gave me numbers.
Hey, would it be fair to say, how about this number? Would it be fair to say that 84% of all New York City citizens that are heavily policed are minorities? And I'm talking about the whole city now.
Again,
because there's a percentage of the city that we talk about.
Listen to me. I grew up in Hollis, Queens. I'm a New York resident. I've been Brownsville. Went from Brownsville to Hollis, Queens. So I'm part of Brooklyn and Queens. I have nothing but relationships. All my family's in the Bronx. I mean, I'm in every borough except for Staten Island. Let's say that. And at the end of the day, I understand how hard it is for a cop to actually. My uncle was killed in the line of duty. He was an undercover cop in the Bronx. Went into a bar. They made him for an undercover cop. Smashed him. This is in the 70s. This is early. They wasn't playing back then.
Right.
It was a different era, Uncle Live and God bless, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I understand how hard it is to be a cop in New York City. But with that being said, we cannot go backwards. As people, as a culture, we cannot go backwards. I need Jay-Z now more than ever because he's the one came out talking about he helped with the stop and frisk, which he did. Well, we got to do it again, Jay. Whatever you need from me, I'm with it. Well, because we cannot go back to a stop and frisk.
What do you think? What motivates
you know what that is to me? Hold on. You know what that is to me? That is such. It's not forward thinking. If we're moving forward in culture, in life, in technology, in every aspect. How are we going backwards? You mean to tell me all your educated people that are in this system, this from the mayor, come on, he's an ex-sergeant. Again, I'm not trying to knock him, but he's not the forward thinker that we need to fix problems. All you are doing is creating more by going backwards. You do not go backwards. We have to go forward. We have to rewrite. We have to change. We have to think of why that wasn't good or effective or why we took it out in the first place to actually go back and say, oh, we're going to monitor the police. We already know that there's an issue. Most of the cops that I know don't want to be in the hoods they're in. And it's understandable. I don't want to be there. Right. You don't want to be there. Like, again, people are there not because they want to be there. It's because that is the culture. They're in there because that's the product of their environment. And they have to live in there. Economics. Okay? They can't go nowhere else. And then, again, when you're in that, it's about opportunities. You know, I had deep conversations with a guy like a Jesse Jackson about opportunities in Chicago, which I told him. I said, that is why there's so much gang violence in Chicago. It's not that these kids wanted. I do not know one gangster that wants to be inside of this. Not one. I know the most ruthless killers. They don't want to do that. And that's the problem. Who's there helping Eric Adams and his team understand without being afraid of that culture you have to deal with?
Well, then let's talk about, I mentioned earlier behind the scenes, and I wanted to ask you, like, it's almost impossible to become the mayor of New York City without having some type of backing, powerful people behind you. So my question is,
you mean like the union, the Teamsters?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, without powerful people behind you, helping you or putting things in your ear, could that be it? Could that be
politics. See, that's politics.
It's politics.
Once you get put into position, what ends up having to happen is you have to pay back or help people's agenda that puts you in that position.
Exactly.
That's why I don't play with politics. I talked to Al Sharpton about all of those things before. He wanted me to do things, and I said, I don't want to be in politics because I don't want to have to play that game of, here's my agenda, what could you do for me? And then, I could do this for you. Because then that's when you start blurring the lines of what really you want to get accomplished.
What side of the fence is the mayor? He's a Democrat or Republican?
He's a Democrat. Yeah.
Okay.
New York City will damn near always be a Democrat.
No, because Bloomberg, I think, was a Republican.
Bloomberg was a Republican.
Right? So my question is,
but he's a billionaire.
If he's a Democrat, exactly, and this guy's not a billionaire, so someone had to spend a couple, little change to get him there.
Yes.
To help him get there. So now he's there,
yes.
And all of a sudden, could it be is that they try to put a specific face to, if it was a different face and did that and say, I want to put stop, would the city flip compared to say, hey, maybe he is trying to do the right thing?
I don't want to get into conspiracies, but again,
you think if the mayor's name was Jose Pepe Rodriguez,
it would be a different conspiracy.
Okay.
But again, he's Eric Adams, and
right.
At the end of the day,
he's not the Bloomberg billionaire.
I don't want to talk against my people. It's just that it's a rough position, I'm sure. I just don't want to talk against them, and they're in a very tough position. They've ascended to become a mayor from his beginnings, which is incredible, and he has done it of New York City. He's the mayor of New York City. Congratulations. All I'm talking about is we do not go backwards. And you cannot tell me that the police are going to work better now. It's going to ruin business. This is about businesses podcast. It's going to ruin businesses. And again, those statistics that were out there, there's statistics about how it affected kids going to school because of the authority, right? That they're being, they don't trust the authority. And this is just another reason not to be trusted. Because the minute you pull over one person that isn't involved in any illegal activity, and he has to feel the degrading way he's going to get treated, which I have done.
Might have to go to
I had
jail.
to deal with. Me personally having to deal with and know that vibe and feeling, it's not cool. And that is the part that they don't get. It's not about how many you do, and it's the one, just the one that you just fucked up. And so on. And believe me, it's proven that it's not just one. It's a lot more than that. And again, you search, I'm a big believer. You seek, you find. So if you're looking for trouble, you find trouble. The minute I put down the gun, I didn't get in that trouble no more. Right. And that's the truth. When I carried the gun, guess what? It was always a fight. It was always something. The minute I put it down and didn't want to deal with that no more and said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I didn't get into nothing anymore. How crazy is that? So this is the same philosophy I look at the police, and you know, they're coming out looking for trouble. That's their job now, to go find it. No, that causes more problem. That doesn't fix a problem. And as a forward thinker, we don't go backwards. We go forward. We have to address it in a new way. We have to be, come on, be proactive, Eric. You're better than that. You know the problems. You was a sergeant. You dealt with all these people inside. And please do not tell me that if you pull over 100 people, 95% of them are fucking doing something illegal. That's not real. 9 out of 10 stop and frisk.
But they have to get
Did
put
you
through
hear
the,
that?
but they get put through the system.
9 out of 10 are innocent. That
they
means
get put
only
through the
1 out of
system.
10. So what I'm saying is, of course, it's a, you know,
That's what
because
it comes
jails, they
down
got
to.
to stuff these jails. All this money's pumped into jails in that system, which is what this is about to me. So maybe when you mention who's behind them, maybe it's the guys that's making jails. Maybe it's like Rikers Island and those COs. They need people to come through.
You said something earlier when you said, hey, the minute you start telling me he went from here, he ascended to become the mayor
Of New York
the
City.
first thing I thought in my mind, like anything in life, is what did you give up
Ha!
to become
Now
this?
you're talking Ifa.
No, it's not. No, I ain't, but I'm
Universal law.
Right, but I'm also
These are
talking
universal
life. Because I'll
laws,
give you an
yo.
example.
You want something, you have to give
I'll give you
something
an example.
up.
You know the amount of time from think about all the great artists and all the people you've come across.
Yes.
One common denominator they all have is the amount of time they put into their craft, right?
So much time.
Okay.
No matter what it is.
Okay, and what do they have to, sometimes they have to give up relationships, times with family. They miss parties.
I have a billionaire friend. I don't want to disclose his name. He's Jewish, huge in the Jewish community. And he tells me, he confides in me one day, and he's talking to me, and he mentions how he didn't feel he was the best dad. I said, how could you have been? How could you have built all of this
and do that
and be the best dad? I said, it's almost impossible.
You have to pick and
Because
choose.
if you did that, then you probably wouldn't have all of this.
Absolutely.
I said, but you're not dead. Your kids will understand, even though they're older. You could explain to them why, at this point in your life, why you weren't
Around.
there or the best
Every
dad.
bar mitzvah.
Yes.
Even though you paid for it.
Yes. And all of these things. And I said, and you could fix it. It's just conversation. And I said, they will get it. Because he mentioned his son is such a great dad. Right. But he also mentioned he's not as good as him at his business as he would wish he would be. Right. And I told him, I said, that's like having Michael Jordan expect his son to be better than him. Right. It's not happening. It's just what it is. It says, see,
Can you expect Michael Jordan's son to be better than Pippen?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that.
It is Mike, but
Yeah.
no,
But when I mean getting back to the mayor, so you can imagine for him to now, he hasn't even been in what 2-3 weeks,
yeah, he's just got
and
in.
he's talking dirty. He's talking dirty to the people. He's saying, "Listen, I've only been." So who's in his ear saying this is what we're going to implement? Because you cannot make a decision as a mayor. How about this? Ourselves in our companies, we don't make decisions. We always
Gotta go around the board.
see what's up, right? Hey, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of this?
Well, because of his pedigree, meaning he's a ex-sergeant.
Who did he put as a commissioner? He put someone in that's supposed to
She
be a
puts a
hard
female.
nosed.
She put a female in there. I know her, Sewell. I forget her first name. What's her first name? You could. Ichang?
Keychain.
C-Chain.
Keychain.
Keychain Sewell, you know, congratulations, black female commissioner of New York City. Again, the biggest gang in the country is the Blues, the NYPD. That's the biggest gang in the country, United States, period. And again, she runs and controls that, and I say that in the sense of, who's the Rudy Giuliani. In my opinion, is who took
Ruthless
over.
Giuliani?
Ruthless Giuliani he took over the streets in New York City after, I believe, Dinkins, who was the mayor. Then he took over, and when he took over, what he did, again, was hire police. That's why they're the biggest. he said, "Oh no, we are gonna outnumber all of these thugs and these mobsters." And again, if you think of 42nd Street, I grew up running the 42nd, but 42nd was the worst street in New York City.
Be up and
that
down.
was you had to be about your work if you went to 42nd, and that was where I always was running the 42nd. He made it Disneyland. He cleaned it completely up. He got Mickey Mouse to come put all the money up here, and then it's all clean
Closed
now.
a bunch of streets.
But if you don't know that, history, you would never go to 42nd Street today and understand what it was.
What's the business play? It was for tourism, no?
Tourism.
Because there's always a money play here.
Of course. And then look, it's an amazing job. Again, and then he made it safe by hiring so many police. And then he started arresting all the gangsters, the mobsters, and all of those things. And I mean, it just.
Oh, he took away also all the porn stuff that was 42nd.
Porn was full of porn. It was full of drugs.
Yeah.
It was the pimps and the prostitutes.
Bunch
It
of
was all the
hoes.
peep shows.
Yes.
I mean,
He
everything
cleaned
you
all that
wanted was
shit
up on
Yeah, he
42nd.
cleaned all that up.
But you had to be about it because they was out there.
Of
The wolves
course,
was out there.
Of course.
Again, and at the end of the day, it's just weird because this is what Eric Adams should know: the culture, history. I believe I'm 54.
So what's
I believe
his
he's
goal
54.
with that? What do you think who is he trying to? When you make a decision like that, so harsh, it's like coming in from the door and you become the president of a new corporation and you're like, hey, you come, you don't. What's the end game for him? What is he trying to?
Well, I know for sure his first thing, his agenda that he was trying to make happen was he wants to be able to walk the streets of New York and be safe. He said, I will not have, like, I seen it in the beginning as soon as he took over. He said, I will not be walking around with all this security and everything. He's going to move around very humbly through the streets of New York City without so much security or presence.
I think he rode a bike to work.
He rode his bike into work. This is what he's trying to show you, and in order to do that, he's saying, I'm going to make sure we're safe.
Right.
First and foremost, you're Eric Adams. If you're not safe, God, forgive me, I will never be safe. Right. So at the end of the day, everyone who knows you, it's just a mindset.
Is he trying to save us money for not having security? Is that what he's trying to do?
No, again, it's an agenda. Crime definitely went up through COVID. And things of that nature because of all these new agendas and rules that came about. But at the end of the day, we do not go backwards. I'm going to stand on that no matter who's in front of me. We do not go backwards. And in order to fix things, we have to be forward thinking. We have to change these old laws and rules that makes no sense. Okay? I always talk about the Constitution and things of that nature because those are old laws, but they was never written for us. We wasn't even a vote. Right? The black man was not a vote. So at the end of the day, please do not quote me the damn Constitution, but where's all our forward thinkers and lawyers? They should be adjusting these things for today. Our forefathers, which is not my forefathers, but they forefathers that wrote those rules, wrote it for them. Right. They didn't write it for us. So why should we think it's for everybody? It's not really like the right way to think about it. And we should make adjustments. And here he comes in his first day, and then he talks about stop and frisk, which was already ruled unconstitutional. Now, if he was an attorney and he has all that background, I would say argue it. But he doesn't, and he shouldn't just make that move. And that's why what you're saying makes so much sense, because I don't know who's behind that stop and frisk and that agenda.
So, is this a yes man? Adams appointed his brother as a deputy commissioner. And you can't find any public comments from her.
She's just a figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, he put his brother as the deputy commissioner behind her. Understood.
There's a money play.
Understood.
Here. It costs money to incarcerate. It costs money to.
It's still, I still give. I don't mean to cut you off, Dinero, but I still give him credit because it's the first one ever. And whenever you're the first one ever in anything, it's a big deal. That's why you will never hear me talk about Obama. Ever.
Right now.
Never. He did 2 terms and he did it with class. That's all you will ever hear from me. I don't get into the politics. But to be that first, see, and again, I'm privy to know him and his Valerie Jarrett, who ran his campaign, who's one of my mentors' cousin. So we go to dinner and she's crying, telling me things about what he was dealing with when he first got into office, all the death threats and things of that nature. I could only imagine
yeah.
okay, what he dealt with as the first black president of the United States. Period. And he did it with class and elegance, and so did Michelle. There's nothing to be said. Anyone could talk to me about. Don't tell me about what he inherited, which was a mess of a country. There's nothing to talk about. And again, at the end of the day, Eric Adams walks into New York City. The difference is he's making a move that is against us and our culture, and he should be better than that. That's, to me, the biggest issue. See, that's the difference. If he doesn't do that, I will never. He's the first. Well, he's not the first. Dinkins was the first. So at the end of the day, but he's a black. I would just leave it at that. But you can't make those moves that are so
But my
so
question
negative.
is, if he's being influenced, what's the money play? You're arresting people. You have to
I
open
told
up
you.
a budget. Listen, you have to open up a budget to hire more cops
More
to police.
cops.
What
Police.
areas are you policing?
Yes.
When you're sitting in those meetings, what areas are you focusing on to police?
I keep saying.
Right? And I'm saying, so it's a money play, though. There has to be a money play somewhere.
Yeah.
The money play, there has to be.
You're touching on it.
The budget.
The money to go to jail.
Now you're arresting all these people.
Where's that coming from? Taxpayers. The money to put them in these places is all
You're
tax
arresting,
dollars.
and then when you're
and then
arresting,
you're gonna hire more
you're
cops.
extracting money from the citizen because they have to bail themselves out. If they don't have a lawyer, you give them a public defender. The public defender has to get paid. There's a money play here.
Of course, this is a big money play. But again, we cannot allow backwards movement and not forward thinking. We have to.
The whole bail system is a money play because it's really catered on the poor people.
As
You
a
don't pay, you
culture,
stay in
as a
jail.
people, we cannot allow this. We have to stand up. We have to say something. He cannot come in. He's an appointed official. We brought him in his position, right? Technically. So at the end of the day, when that is, you're a public servant. The public needs to speak up in a major way. And again, there's so much history and numbers behind it. And for his response to be that the cops we're gonna make sure they monitor it better. And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
And maybe it's a play by
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, which means that cop that's on this block that pulls me over, there's no one for him to answer to.
Hey, I think I just figured out the money play. He's a cop. Police union backed him up the most. If he does this play, they get to add more cops to the union.
The union.
They get to put more hours in at work. They get to put their money. They put more people in jail. They looks like the crime goes down. He looks like he wins. If the crime rate, that has to be the play.
Well, if the crime goes down, of course it's going to go down.
The money play is the police
9
union
out of 10.
makes more money.
Hey, 9 out of 10 is innocent. So crime's going to go down because that one is going to be worried more so than ever before.
He's
going to be like, fuck.
But listen, how do you become innocent? How do you become innocent? You got to go through the system.
You got to go through the
That's
system.
the money play.
Well, we all know that.
No, but I'm saying, what I'm looking at it is, you're going to sit here and put more people through the system.
We have kids. I taught my son and my daughter to speak. As long as they're not doing nothing wrong, speak up. See, I was never taught that. My mom and dad, don't say nothing. Please be careful. What are you doing? So nervous. That's my mother and father. You understand, that dealing with a cop. I'm not teaching my kids that. I taught them differently. You're not doing nothing wrong. I don't care if you're speeding. Give me my fucking speeding ticket and keep it moving. That's it. I'm not doing nothing illegal.
But then, the cops can also feel those vibes. You know what I'm saying? When they come up to you and they
know someone told you something.
Listen, if you driving a Toyota 1.8 all fucked up, man, there's Lil Pepe and his brother in the front, and you know what I'm saying? That they're gonna come at you.
Different.
It's like they prey on the broke people.
Yes. Well, once you say stop and frisk, it's not focused on gangs because you. And then if it is, you're targeting, right?
Oh, of course, and you would be targeting.
You're targeting. Who you stopping and frisk? That's the problem with stopping and frisk. You are targeting. Again, and I dealt with not only stop and frisk, but I dealt with the hip hop police. I would pull up to a club. They're there. They pull me over. They talk. I mean, I have a Jewish brother-in-law, David Raymond. He owned the hottest club in New York at the time, Lotus. I'll give you this story. This is a great story for this. This is a great, terrible story. So I call him up. I'm leaving the studio, and I call him up. I say, yo, Dave, I'm about to head home. You need a ride. He lives on the west side, down uptown. And he said, sure, come grab me. So I go to Lotus, grab him. It's like 3:30, 4. I grab him. We hit the west side. I'm not driving. Let me go back. I always have a driver. So my driver's drive. I'm in the passenger seat. Dave jumps in the back. Hit the West Side Highway, and we going. We get as soon as we make the turn on the West Side Highway off of 14th Street. Whoop, whoop.
Lights.
Guns out. My brother-in-law never been through none of this shit in his life. Me and my man Demi, we turn on the dome light. We got our hands. I got my hands on the thing. He got his hands on the steering wheel.
It's safe to say your brother-in-law is Caucasian.
Yeah, he's Jewish. He's Jewish. Yes, he's Caucasian. And we put your hands where we can see him. All of this shit, guns on us. And we like, what do we do, officer? Shut the fuck up. We'll tell you what you did. Wait, there's someone in the back. Someone in the back. Roll the back window down. Rolls the window down. Sees it's David. Jewish. He said, officer, what happened? What did we do? He's a lawyer. Right. Mind you, my brother-in-law is a lawyer. He said, what do we do? He said, are you okay? Whole demeanor, everything changed from the cop. He said, are you okay? He said, yeah, my brother-in-law is taking me home. Put your hands where I can fucking see him.
Oh, you not with them?
Yeah. As soon as he said he's with his brother-in-law, he said, put your fucking hands where I can see him. Takes him out the car, and they want to search the car. I know I have nothing in my car, so I'm like, I'm not letting you search my car. They like, oh, we got a tough one. They said they took Demi out, handcuffs behind his back, put him on his fucking knees. Same with David. West Side Highway, on their knees, waiting for me, because I'm not letting them in my fucking vehicle. And then I tell them, there's nothing in my car, and you're not going to put nothing in here. And they make me get out, handcuff me, throw me on the back windshield, and then they search my whole fucking car. It's a Navigator. I'm in a fucking Lincoln Navigator. They don't find nothing. Let us go. What did we get pulled over for? They say, yeah, we'll figure it out. My brother-in-law is connected. His cousin is, oh my God. He was OJ's forensic attorney's lawyer. Barry Sheck.
Okay.
Monster. He's like, we get back in the car. He's like, we got to call Barry. We got to call Barry. This is not fair. I said, like, and me and
this is twice a week, by the way.
Hold on. He asked, and me and Demi are laughing. And he's like, what's wrong with you guys? How are you like this? We like, Dave, this happens to us all the fucking time. Crazy. He could not believe it. He could not believe it. Yet, the end of the story, he didn't take rides from me anymore. He didn't. When I was coming to, I'm good. I'll catch a cab. He wouldn't get back in the car, which is fine. But he got to see it firsthand and understood for that one night, for that one moment, and see what we deal with on a regular, consistent basis. Every night when I went out, the hip hop cops was on my ass every night, and I know them. It's funny. I got more because I ended up hiring Derek Parker. Wow. Just so he could fucking leave me alone. He's the head hip-hop cop. He didn't think I knew. Of course I knew. So I hire him and say, come on, come see Inside a Murder Ring. See what we do. He got to see everything. In his book, when he wrote his book, he said, those are great guys, the whole thing. He said they didn't do nothing wrong. Yes, they had some gangsters around, but that's it. Yeah, we got gangsters. That's not a problem. Right. But we're trying to domesticate our gangsters. See, that's the difference. Yes. I don't need them to be gangsters no more. I want them to make money now. That's it. And that's what I said when I seen any gangster that I know, any killer, whatever you want to talk about, they don't want to do that. If they could make money, if they had an opportunity to make money the right way, they would do it. But they don't understand how to do that.
Like, it's all tied into business at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. On that note, we're going to sign off on this episode, Giving Them the Business. Eric Adams, you could do better. Please. Yeah. You're better
definitely. Than that. Stop and frisk, suck a dick.